Welcome to everybody. Today our guest is MMA fighter Gabriella Gulfin, coming fresh off a win. Finally, you snapped negative streak. Now you're riding on a positive one. How's everything going at the moment? How are you impressed with your last performance? Then we will go with a question by question. By the way, thank you for accepting the invitation for the interview.
Thank you for having me. With the last performance, I'm happy with it, but I know I can do so much better, and I'm already looking for my next fight.
Oh, that's pretty much outstanding. So, right now, I watched your score. I watched even some of your matches. All your losses came from big names. Jazz is a UFC fighter, Erin is UFC fighter. You didn't fight like average fighters. So, but technically, this last fight, what was the game plan for your last fight? You won a close split decision win, but win is a win.
Right. It was basically being mindful of the length advantage that she had, keeping close, being aggressive, having pressure, taking the fight wherever it went, staying on the feet or going to the ground.
When did you start training MMA? Which was your first or fundamental martial art?
I started with MMA around 2013, transitioning from my first martial art, which was Taekwondo.
So, can you call yourself a fighter with good kicks or a fighter with good footwork? If you could rate your fighting style, how would you call yourself? Are you a pressure fighter? Are you sprawl and brawl? Are you all rounder?
I definitely love pressure. I have that brawler element to me, so I'd say between pressure and a brawler, it's not quite one or the other.
Where are you training at the moment? Who are your coaches and sparring partners?
Right now, it's between Ultimate MMA in North Haven, Connecticut under Andrew Calandrelli and Finishers MMA under Zach Mikulski in it's around Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I also go to other MMA gyms like Bucktown MMA in Newark, New Jersey.
How's one day in your life looking like when you're training or when you're in the camp? Or you can also describe a regular day of your life.
Consistent movement with moments of slowing down, reflection, and relaxation.
How did your first amateur fight look like? Do you still remember it?
Oh, yeah, I do. It was a lot of adrenaline and not knowing what I was doing.
So it was pretty harsh experience. Were you scared heading into your first fight?
As the promoter said when he first met me, I was a green baby. So I would say pretty intimidated, but now I crave fighting. I love it. I adore it. I enjoy a live crowd. It made me so happy this last fight to have the feedback of a live audience, like a fuller version of that, because I feed off of that energy. Whether it's for me or against me, I love it.
You have the favorite strike and the favorite submission.
Striking, I just love the idea of consistent movement and pressure, so I don't necessarily have a favorite. Submission, it's the same thing. I have this idea of fluidity. I like feeling a person and seeing where their natural openings lie. So I don't like to settle on one thing because I believe that's a limitation because I'm always going to have that one go-to, and I believe that perhaps it blinds me to finding other openings.
Who was the toughest amateur opponent for you?
Oh, definitely Lanisha. I forgot her last name. It starts with a V. She was the toughest. She was the hardest hitter, and I was so happy for that fight because she's the only person who I've ever fought that's cut me, and I really am grateful for that because if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have the excitement of being in danger.
Can you please describe your professional debut?
That was against Brittany Gainino, who I fought, ironically, in my amateur career. She was my second amateur fight. Uh, it was apprehension, wanting to get paid, and the game plan of using my jiu-jitsu in that case because I knew it was my strong suit in that situation. And I won by armbar.
And you scored a win in your second professional fight, right?
Yes.
So are you pleased with your second professional fight? Did you work on some improvements? Did you change something in your game plan maybe?
Well, with the second professional fight, I would say I was more confident. I even remember a moment where I caught the kick and led it straight into the takedown. So I was more in a state of flow. That was the transition from the first to the second, I'd say. And then by the time I got to my third fight, I started going through a lot of personal life changes that I was not adjusting to well, and that took some time to sort out.
So your third professional fight was against UFC name. Like many people are saying when they watch people's scores that it's like an average fighter, but losing to UFC fighter, it's. I mean, to me at least, losing to UFC fighter, it's okay completely. But are you pleased with that performance, or something could have gone better?
Oh, not at all. That was the worst fight of my life. Even getting into the fight, I was mentally not there. There were things that happened literally right before the fight with the coach I had at the time that were screaming red flags that that relationship was about done. And by the time there, I wasn't fighting. I was physically there, mentally gone.
And for the fight with Jazz was also my guest.
Yes. Oh, I respect her immensely. Her striking is exceptional. I saw her wrestling has improved greatly. Yeah, I did not handle that situation well either. I wanted to redeem myself for the loss with Aaron, and I rushed into that fight. Even the way I fought was very reckless. I left myself open to that elbow, and that was the beginning of the end.
Against Saragova, I watched the whole fight, and honestly, I was thinking that you won 2 rounds. But in Bellator, like when it's close fight, it could go either way. But I was thinking that you won round 1 and 3. What do you say?
I do, but when it comes to decision, what the judges say goes, and I was still not quite there. I didn't pull the trigger like I should have, and I acknowledge that.
If you could pinpoint to 3 things that are most important for a fighter, what would it be?
Self-preservation, love for what you're doing, and knowing your system for rest and recovery to balance the intensity and the breakdown of fighting.
How hard it is for a fighter mentally to snap a losing streak? I mean, how is fighter feeling when he's on a losing skid and when you're trying to get into a winning streak? What is happening? I mean, mentally, what is happening with the fighter? Can you please reply?
If I could visually describe it or assess it, it looks like a child's scribble drawing. You know, when a child takes crayons and you tell them to draw a picture and all they do is this, that is the physical description of it. But it's a thing of making peace in the chaos, no matter how overridden you might feel or are with your thoughts. There's a sense of necessity and optimizing what is important and phasing out everything else that's not necessary or a distraction.
Pretty much great description. Do you have some plans for the future? Do you maybe have somebody locked in your sights for the potential next fight?
No, I'm looking actually to get on CES's card in November and bring them as they come. I just want to fight right now, and I want to continue to develop myself and get my momentum back. I promised myself I would fight at least one more time before this year is out, and I am going to make that a reality.
How are you currently feeling? I mean, according that you won the fight, and do you plan to continue training instantly, or are you gonna take maybe 2, 3, 4 days rest, then get back into training on?
I have been training actually. I been going to Muay Thai the past week. Grappling not yet because I'm having some issues with my skin. I have psoriasis, so it's just protection for that. But other than that, I have been training. I've been working on my movements. I see where there are flaws, and my coaches and I have already been assessing those issues and working on improvements.
Would you like to greet somebody? Would you maybe like to give a shout out to somebody or say something we forgot to mention in this interview?
Definitely my functional patterns coach or practitioner, Alexander Lambert. He's really given me a lot of leverage, inspiration, and determination. And with him and my other two coaches, Zach and Andrew, they make the perfect team. They are the corner that I always wanted. And that's helped me get or find the motivation I needed to start digging myself out of this hole I've created with the last 3 losses.
Thank you so much for the interview. I will put the video to creation now. As soon as it's online, I will message you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vladimir, for having me.
Thanks a lot, Gabriella. Have a great day.
You too.